Hi everyone. Welcome again to our webinars, the series of our series of webinars. And today we are having the seventh global talk, Eco Leaders of Tomorrow, Green Horizons and Future Skills. And today we are having the module entitled Sustainability Pipeline from Classroom to Career. And again, this webinar is being organized jointly by the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability, the Global Green Chamber of Commerce, and the Environmental Awareness Initiative at the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So I'm inviting Michelle for an opening remarks. So the floor is yours, Michelle.
Thank you, Dr. Wassam, and thank you to our attendees who are joining us live on LinkedIn and to our esteemed speakers today. Today, we will bring together three different perspectives that help us understand how the next generation of sustainable leaders is being shaped. So first, we have Dr. Connie Mitchell, who will begin by exploring how universities can embed sustainability into education and institutional culture, really preparing those students with competencies needed to address global challenges. Next, we have Ms. Demon, who will take us from the classroom into the real world environmental engineering, demonstrating how scientific assessment techniques help monitor and address pollution linked to infrastructure and transportation systems. And then finally, Ms. Miriam Larby will examine how sustainability in transforming careers, governance, and corporate strategy as the green economy continues to reshape the global market. So together, their insights and highlights on how education, science, and leadership must work together to bring a sustainable future. So welcome again. We're so happy to have you. And I want to say, I know many of you are celebrating today, so happy Ramadan. I know most of you are waiting for the breaking of the fast, so I know that this hour and a half might seem a little bit longer today. So today will be the last of our series, but within the next 2 weeks, we are going to start something very different for us. It'll be the very first module of the Global Professional Fellowship in the Green Urban Innovation and Social Entrepreneurship. So please mark your calendar, because as you can see, this is an entire set of programs all coordinated together with specific topics for each module. And when you complete, if you go through all of 12 modules, then there will be a certification at the end. There will be a certificate for each, but at the very, very end, if all 12 are completed, and there will be a short quiz after each, so that will be something different also. So I hope that you can join us. Please share with others that will want to also take that program. And I know we've been doing this moment of silence for quite some time now, and it feels just progressively more and more needed. So we'll just take one moment of silence and breath to give peace, love, and kindness out there in the world of many wars, unfortunately, and this can be personal and regional troubles that we're having. So I'll take one breath. And we're going to continue that to give that peace and strength and love to our speakers today, to help them provide guidance to each of you, and just give a big, huge thank you for being here. And friendly reminders for those who haven't been with us before, we really encourage your participation live on LinkedIn. Oops. I don't know what's going on here. Live on LinkedIn. So please, if you haven't already done so, share your city and your country if you like, and then provide comments and feedback, and really dive into those questions. We cannot wait to hear what those questions are from you. And also, please remember that this is a space for open, inclusive, and uplifting dialogue. We really want us to all learn and be part of this process together. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Wissam, who's just been such an amazing leader, bringing us all together for these programs, and finding and identifying these really incredible speakers that we have each and every time. So Dr. Wissam with the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle, for these remarks. And we start with our first guest speaker, Dr. Connie Mitchell. And Dr. Connie, she is the Director, Teaching and Learning Center and Writing and Tutoring Center at the Prince Sultan University in Saudi Arabia. So the floor is yours, Dr. Connie.
I think we just lost her again. Dr. Connie is in Egypt right now, which she thought she would have great internet, and she has been in and out of the meeting. So yes. Oh, she's coming back in, but she might need to take a moment to upload her presentation.
So then we will move to Miss Mariam Larabi, and Miss Mariam, she is the head of governance and ESG solutions at Convene at the United Arab Emirates. So the floor is yours, Miss Mariam.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wissam. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here with us today. So my name is Miriam Larbi. I currently lead the governance and ESG solutions at ASIS Convene, and I'm also an MBA graduate from the University of Wollongong. Thank you very much for your time, especially during these dire moments. And again, Ramadan Kareem to everyone. So today I wanted to talk about something very close to my heart, which is how we move from simply being aware of sustainability to actually building careers and drive the real change. Because many people care about the planet, many people want to make a difference, but the big question is often, how and where do we fit in these transformation? So this is exactly what my presentation will be about. We are living in fascinating moments in history, but never before have we ever been so aware of climate change and sustainability. And this is where today we will fill the gap. So let's go to the execution gap. We are probably the most climate-aware generation that has ever existed. We understand the science and we see the impact, and many of us genuinely want to help. But awareness alone doesn't automatically translate into this transformation, unfortunately. So corporations often make ambiguous pledges, but implementing those implementations takes a lot of time. At the same time, something very encouraging is happening. People want to contribute. So students, professionals, entrepreneurs, there is real motivation to build a more sustainable future. So the real gap isn't just about passion. The real gap is clarity. Clarity about how your professional skills can contribute to this transition. And that clarity is something that we intentionally built. So let's go to the shift. So the big shift here is like sustainability is no longer considered as corporate social responsibility, or CSR as we say. So one of the biggest shifts happening today is that sustainability changed. The understanding of sustainability has changed. In the past and before, in the old view, sustainability was often seen as only corporate social responsibility. But today that perspective has completely changed. It's now completely connected to risk management, financial strategies, investment decisions. So it's embedded in the pure DNAs of entities. Investors are evaluating companies based on their ESG performance. And this is how these days where we hear about green loans, green bonds, even in banks. So banks and loans these days would wait for us to get these rather than get a clarity. So sustainability is no longer just about doing good. It's about building resilient businesses. The green economy. So what is actually the green economy? So what we are witnessing today is not a small policy shift. It's a massive economic transformation. And this is what we mean by green economy. Green economy is the new restructured economy. So some economists compare it to the scale of the Industrial Revolution. Energy systems are changing. We see financial markets being integrated. We see supply chains becoming more transparent, and regulations around climate disclosures are rapidly evolving. From a business perspective, the logic is very clear. So markets reward transparency, resilience, and long-term thinking. Capital flows toward organizations that manage risk responsibly. So the green economy is not a niche sector anymore. It's simply the next phase of the global economy. And that is what green economy is. So being a holder of an MBA, I myself saw the shift. So one of the advantages of studying business is that it helped me see the system clearly. It helped you understand how economics, governance, and finance and strategies interacts with each other. So when I applied it to the lens of sustainability, something actually interesting happened. I began to see sustainability not just as an environmental issue, but as a massive economic restructuring. And the professionals who will lead the next decade are not waiting for a perfect job. It's not just, we're not waiting for a title to appear. We are reframing our existing expertise. We see engineers designing circular systems, lawyers navigating climate regulations, finance professionals structuring green investments. In other words, sustainability is not replacing careers, it's just reshaping them. So how do I engineer my green skill? And I'll show you a guide to the toolkit. So let's talk about the skill, because caring about sustainability, yes, it's true, it's important, but succeeding in the green economy requires heavy practical capabilities. Organizations today are looking for people who can translate sustainability into actionable business decisions. And in my experience, I see that there are 3 types of skills that are becoming especially valuable, which are the data architect, the system designer, and the ethical negotiator. So these roles appear again and again in sustainability-driven organizations. The first, which is the data architect, someone who can measure and interpret environmental impact. The second one is the system designer, which is someone who can redesign operations to make them more sustainable. The third one is the ethical negotiator, someone who can bring people together, drive change with organizations. The most effective sustainability leaders are able to combine all 3. So they basically understand data, systems, and people. So let's dive into the first skill set, which is the data architect. So there is a famous management quote that says, if you can measure it, you can manage it. And in sustainability, that is 100% true. Companies today must measure their carbon emissions, climate risks, and environmental impacts. These include areas like carbon accounting, ESG reporting frameworks, life cycle assessments, and climate risk analytics. This is why professionals who understand these systems help organizations make informed and credible decisions. And this is why I heavily do advise all of you to go and start doing courses or at least educate ourselves regarding these. So why boards actually care about data? Sustainable data is no longer just used by sustainability departments. It is now discussed at board levels. Directors want to understand what risks are we facing from climate change. Are we aligned with the regulatory frameworks? How exposed are we to transition risk? And what would it cost if we do nothing? In many ways, sustainability reporting is becoming an extension of financial reporting, which means professionals who understand both areas are extremely valuable. And this is where we would come in hand. And this is where basically the second toolkit, which is the system designer, comes in hand. Our traditional economy used to operate in a linear way. So you take resources, you produce it, and basically you dispose it. With a new model, which is circular economy, it changed. This model simply doesn't work long terms before as linear. But with the circular system, it reuses materials, eliminate waste, and you regenerate resources. So it's a win-win situation for both for the environment and for us. Professionals who can redesign value chains with sustainability in mind will play a huge role in the next decade. So let's go to the third skill set, which is the ethical negotiator. Because sustainability transformation is not only technical, it is deeply human. It requires persuading people, aligning incentives, and managing change. You must be able to speak the language that business leaders understand, whether it's data, risk, and return. When sustainability is framed in those terms, it becomes much easier to drive real change. So how do I use all of these skill sets to engineer my career, basically? Now, let's talk about something personal, your career, because knowing what the green economy needs is only half of the story. The other half is how you position yourselves within it. Careers rarely evolve by accident, they are often designed unintentionally. So let's go to the career roadmap. And I see that it's very important. There are 3 strategies that I personally find very powerful. First, become a T-shaped professional. Develop deep expertise in one discipline while building sustainability knowledge across industries. The second important one is embracing entrepreneurship instead of entrepreneurship. Some of the biggest sustainability transformations happen inside organizations that are not just startups. The third one is you need to invest in strategic relationships. Mentors, practitioners can dramatically accelerate your learning journey. So let's delve a bit in details into it. So what do I mean by T-shaped? So T-shaped is basically having a vertical deep expertise like shown here in the presentation. So the professionals most in demand today are not narrow specialists. They're not generalists either. They are T-shaped professionals, people who have deep expertise in one area, but can also connect that expertise to sustainability challenges. This is where innovation often happens. So let's go to entrepreneur versus entrepreneur. You don't need to launch a startup to be an eco leader. Some of the most impactful sustainability change happen inside organizations. For example, how do I improve my procurement policy? How do I embed ESG metrics in board reporting? How do I optimize energy usage? Strengthening supply chain resilience, and these initiatives can transform an entire industry. So even small steps are still counted as steps. Strategic networking. Another important element is networking. In a field evolving as quickly as sustainability, relationships matter enormously. Learning from people, working around ESG, whether it's governance, risk management, or sustainable finance, will give you immense insights to the textbooks that even textbooks can't. And this is where the importance of having community lies, like global ambassadors. This is exactly why communities are so valuable. Even like this, it's not just educational. These are opportunities to build real relationships. And often the best opportunities in the green economy emerge through conversations and network, whether if it's over a cup of coffee or even a chat. You can move mountains with small chats. So let's go to the return of interest of a green career. A green career is not only about environmental impact, it's also about building stronger, more resilient businesses. When sustainability improves efficiency, reduces risks, and creates value, it becomes a strategic advantage. So this is a small trick that I believe would be beneficial, and it's a small exercise that we should all go. So it's a 30, 60, 90 action plan, which we start any day, but let's say you will start today. So if you want to start a green career journey, you don't need to wait. If you can begin today, in the next 30 days, audit your skills. You can go past the next 60 days and you start learning and contributing to a project. And then later on in the next 90 days, you just launch something that is visible and meaningful. Small actions compound into a powerful challenge and into a powerful change. So the Green Horizon. Sustainability is already reshaping the professional world. The question is no longer whether the green economy will grow. It already is. The real question is, will we position ourselves to lead that transformation or simply react to it? So thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. Hope it was fast. I truly believe that the green economy would require all of us across disciplines, industries, and cultures. And often it begins with a single conversation. So please feel free to reach out and ask questions. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Miss Mariam, for this interesting sharings. And we move now to back to Dr. Connie Mitchell. The floor is yours, Dr. Connie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, everyone. I'm just waiting for my slides to be. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you about creating a quality sustainability culture in education. I'm an educator by heart, by nature, anything and everything above that, and I'm passionate about the whole concept of sustainability. As Miriam was sharing, it's our responsibility. We all have to play a role and a part in order to make this earth, this world, a better place for ourselves, not only for ourselves, but for the future generations. So I think it's extremely important that education has a significant role in this by empowering the eco mindsets, by introducing the interdisciplinary actions that are needed, getting away from the traditional models and doing that interdisciplinary action-centered type of education and innovation for development, as well as I truly believe that academic leadership has to be involved when we're talking about creating sustainability. So if we look at it as a global imperative, which I believe that it is, and how can we help achieve the sustainable development goals, but even going beyond, we're close to 2030 now. What are we doing? So we have rapid urbanization that's happening, climate change is happening across the globe, resource depletion is something that we have to be concerned about. So there's a need for institutions to lead in this sustainable development. And what I believe is the role for higher education is transforming the traditional education models to address these global challenges, moving beyond the simple green initiatives to lasting mindset change. I think that is so important, and it is our responsibility to make certain that happens. The global policy mandate, where you have to align academic quality with international standards, I thought it's important just to highlight, you have UNESCO, you have the OECD, they have lots of research, they have lots of literature, they have frameworks, they have guidelines, they have standards that we as educators or educational institutions can be using as guidelines to help us develop those frameworks within our institutions. Now, I'm talking about this as a huge topic, but I also truly believe that I need to engage with whoever is joining us today. And I really want you to reflect on at least one specific action you have personally taken to promote sustainability in your daily life or professional roles, whether it's the recycling, but going beyond just the recycling. What is it that you are actually doing? And please consider how this action aligns with one of the sustainable development goals. No matter what it is, just take a second, think about that. What is it that you're doing? What is your role? How are you taking part in that? And yes, that this is me trying to educate and get everyone to be or recognize their responsibility when it comes to the sustainability. So if we want to define sustainable quality practices, it's basically where we have to integrate quality assurance with environmental, social, and economic sustainability. So we want to foster that long-term growth and development of strategic educational frameworks. So it's beyond, the going green. I mean, going green has become like a trend, I think, concept, but it's more than that now. It's not just like, okay, I want to go green, but it's more than that. Miriam is, if I'm not mistaken, you say you live in the sustainable city in Dubai. It's an excellent example of how you're going beyond that going green concept. And the emphasis is on, in education, it comes back to the curricular alignment with the SDGs. How are you embedding those different concepts? Because then it becomes more a part of our everyday behavior, and it's not something that you just put off to the side. It's about changing your behavioral concepts and how we can do that in education. Japan is a great example where they teach the students to clean up after themselves and the responsibility of recycling and how to distribute and do all of that. This is an example. Cultivating critical thinking, problem solving, and cultural awareness. An example is a team of our students came up with a program to help with, it is called Nafis, and it helps, you have solar power panels, and it helps to clean the air across the cities. So it's a way of of creating a more sustainable environment. I'm big on evidence, so if I'm going to be talking about something, I need to speak about the evidence-based impact. So transforming the mindsets through interdisciplinary action. So you have to have data-driven initiatives or insights that that help support what you're trying to achieve. And from green initiatives to mindset change. And then we also have to think about the innovation dividend in academia. So when we think about all of these aspects, how can we help support and make certain that we are being successful and achieving the change mindsets or the growth mindset that is needed in order to make a difference in the sustainability framework. So here's just a simple table just to give you an idea. So you have the traditional model versus a sustainable quality culture. When we think about what's happening in education, so for me, interdisciplinary problem solving, action-oriented living labs, I truly believe that any higher education institution, their campus should be living labs, a way for students to be putting into action what is being taught in the classroom, whether it's about creating a more, I reside in Riyadh, so there's a lot of dust in the air. So creating air that is clean and viable for people to use, managing traffic flow. Not certain if everyone is familiar with Riyadh, but we have at least 8 to 9 million people. So traffic is a huge concern. So these are things that you have to think about, problem solving, but how can we do it from a sustainable point of view? So you can have your students brainstorm ideas on how to. So it's moving beyond that traditional model to a more sustainable quality culture to come up with ideas to help solve these problems that will help support the environment, help support achievement of some of the SDGs. Of course, global citizenship and stewardship and impact on the local and global sustainability. These are all things that we have to consider. As case study, I can speak about my own institution, things that have happened, what we're trying to do and trying to achieve. We do have a sustainability and climate change center that was established several years ago. We have different student clubs that focus on sustainability on campus, and we have all of the colleges have embedded, as well as the university, sustainable or sustainability, one of the two, sustainable practice, sustainability. Somehow it's been embedded into our missions. So it's something that we're striving to achieve, as well as making certain it fits across the curricula. So we have to identify actions that have established sustainable quality practices at our own institution. And if I ask myself, if I wanted to really dig deep and research this, what actions have helped establish sustainable quality practice at PSU? How has PSU tackled the SDGs to support quality practices and sustainability? So some of that, I will share some of that with you. From the UNESCO reports example I gave previously, it places emphasis on quality alongside environmental and social responsibility, and the role of education for sustainable development and creating informed decision makers. And then if we look here, as I've shared, PSU's commitment is embedding sustainability across teaching, research, and campus operations. Here's a link to our mission statement, link to Sample College, and what has been achieved within that specific colleges. Strategic measures, revising curricula, establishing sustainability centers, and enforcing quality assurance measures. I think this is one of the key things that has helped us. You can always visit our Center for Sustainability and Climate. They have the 2025 report is up, and it's available for everyone to see. Key actions I think that have helped us at our institution is institutionalizing continuous improvement, accreditation and international standards, and technology-driven innovation. I think all of these things have helped us, as well as collaborative industry partnerships, curriculum integration, green campus initiatives. We've also got we want to pledge to be net zero by 2060 on campus. So this is showing you how the infrastructure from the higher management on is trying to support the sustainability initiatives. And then, of course, you have inclusivity across the university, extracurricular and community involvement, student-led clubs, as I shared, sustainability campaigns, partnerships with both local and global organizations, and hopefully embedding and developing a green mindset. I believe that with our curricular, embedding it into our curriculum across the different colleges, it has enhanced integration of SDGs in the academic programs and strengthened research and innovation in sustainability, which has elevated the academic excellence alongside improved campus sustainability performance. And the measurable outcome from this, obviously, then would be continuous quality enhancements and accreditation achievements, and getting the behavior that is so needed for sustainable practices on a regular basis. Some challenges, there's always challenges whenever you're trying to make any kind of changes in educational practices. Financial investments, infrastructure modifications, ongoing stakeholder training, because you have to constantly keep up with the training and researching what is happening, making certain that the impact is solid and that it will last over the years. And then there's always opportunities for growth, leading regional sustainability education, expanding global partnerships and community outreach, and looking for ways where you can share and your areas of expertise in sustainability in higher education. In conclusion and future directions, I do believe that as educators or as educational institutions, we do have a strong responsibility for a holistic integration of sustainability into academic and operational frameworks, and that we have to strive to continuously improve and build this robust quality assurance process that supports the sustainability measures that you're trying to drive home with your students, but your faculty, all of the employees on campus. And then looking forward, you have to really put an emphasis on long-term societal impact and environmental stewardship. I think that's extremely important in the curricula and the whole infrastructure inside education. And hopefully, our example can be something that can be used across other institutions. And hopefully we can also learn from other institutions. I think it's important that we work together in order to achieve success. And the future of education isn't just about preparing students for the world. It's about preparing students to save it. And this is the key message I really want you to take home with you, is that we're preparing students to save the world. I really think that's a key thing that we have to think about. You have to audit and embed, you have to foster the green mindset, the pedagogy has to be incorporated into there. You measure what matters, so that's the quality matrix. I think this is extremely important. And then lead the global imperative. That's the leadership. You have to really get yourself out there in order to make a difference within your educational institutions. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Connie, for this enlightening presentation. And we move to the third guest speaker, Ms. Diman Jaxi. And Ms. Diman, she is a lecturer of civil and environmental engineering at the University of Zaho in Duhok, Iraq. The floor is yours, Ms. Diman.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry, just my presentation has been uploading. Just give me a few seconds. Good. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. So hello, everyone again. This is Diman Jaksi, the director of the Zaho Center for ASDG, or Sustainable Development Goals, and the lecturer at the University of Zaho from Kurdistan region of Iraq. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Wissam and Ms. Michelle for this opportunity, and I warmly welcome all of you. So my seminar titled Applying Pollution Assessment Techniques for Real-World Environmental Solution, which explore like how we can move our project from basic campus studies to real-world solution. So it means that the knowledge, the tools and techniques we teach and develop inside the campus and or our university should not only remain theoretical, they should move beyond the classroom. So as Dr. Konishi mentioned, that we should transform our classroom to that beyond traditional, like we should move it to the new modern, new techniques, new approach classroom. So here, okay. Yeah, so here in campus, we mean by any kind of education, research, scientific tools, like labs we have, any kind of machine or tools we are using. So we move it to we teach students how to move this kind of education to the real world, which means in this case study, I'm talking about the environmental challenges, like real environmental challenges, risks, we have pollution and traffic impact, industrial growth, and public health concern. So so first I will go just through the environmental pollution. As you know that the population growth, urban expansion, industrial activities, and transportation are all increasing. One of the biggest environmental challenges in the worldwide is pollution. So pollution can affect the air, water, and soil. While the air pollution often receives the most attention, like soil pollution is sometimes ignored, even though soil is foundation of ecosystem. So soil support agriculture, vegetation, water filtration, and ecosystem balance. So when soil become polluted, the problem does not stay in the soil, it's spread through the environment. So which means it affects us human directly. And the main causes of the pollution, there are several main causes of pollution, like vehicle emission, industrial activities, poor waste management, construction and infrastructure development, and also the road maintenance activities. Among these, transportation is one of the fastest growing source of pollution, especially in that developing region. So, for example, highways are essential for economic development and also for environment. But roads areas are constantly exposed to the car and truck exhaust and tire and brake wear practice and fuel composition, right? So road maintenance, dust and industrial, so on. So over time, these pollutants accumulate in the roadside soil. So here we come that the environmental assessment techniques is one of the biggest concern in the environment to be measured is heavy metal such as lead, cadmium, zinc, and copper. why they are dangerous? Because they do not break down naturally, and they stay in the soil for many years, and plants can absorb them. They can enter the food chain, and they may harm the human and animals over time. So not only animals also, but like even plants and any kind of flora and fauna. Let me just zoom out. So pollution levels, some studies, they demonstrate that pollution levels are high when it got close to that roadside, and it get less, it increased the high of the contamination when the distance is far from the roadside. So the level of pollution does not only depend on traffic, it also depends on soil properties such as pH, organic matter content, and electricity conductivity. If these properties change, the pollution effects can become worse. For example, lead can still be detected in the soil many years after the ban of the leaded gas line. This shows that how persistent and stable these pollutants are in the environment. So I will give one example of our region, of our project that my colleague and I work on. So in Kurdistan region, we worked on a highway from Zakho to Duhok city. So as you can see that the vehicle numbers increased over the years, which means like more vehicle means more emission, more environmental damage, and this definitely affect the environmental affect the environment. So, for example, for our project, the technique is we visited 20 sites on along this highway, and which along 50 kilometers for each sites, and we collected some sample from 5 to 50 meters from road edge, and for like every 2-3 kilometers we collected the sample, and the sample taken from 0 to 15 centimeter depth, because that's the area that's more get polluted, or that's have more contamination. So then the sample were they collected, and it's also the sample taken and then stored and steamed, and then we have analyzed the sample. So, for example, we focused on heavy metals like lead, and we sampled, we analyzed the soil pH and electricity conductivity and organic matter, soil texture also, because that's important to know where each site, which kind of soil do they have. So we have also analyzed that one. So the result, I will just finalize the result. So the soil texture form among 20 sites, the most common type was loam soil. Loam is considered ideal because the soil, it has balanced amount of sand, and other soil site that they were sandy loam, sandy clay loam, and clay soil. And clay soil were found in 2 sites, had a very high clay content. Sandy soil drain water quickly, and clay soil hold more water but have poor drainage, and loam soil provide the best balance for the plant growth. And also for the organic matter vary from different sites. The lowest one was around 0.30%, and the highest reached 6.12, which is very good for the soil. So the high organic matter improves soil fertility or water retention and microbial activities. So low organic matter indicates poor soil health, especially near heavy traffic or industrial area. Soil pH and EC. So soil pH ranged from slightly acid to acidic. Some sites had lower pH, around 4.4. And acidic soil is important because it can increase the mobility of heavy metals like lead. For example, if we check at the lead concentration, it's ranged from 2 to 3 milligram per kilogram. The average was 2.59. So which is kind of like good because we compare to that WHO standards, and the high value were found near the high traffic area, of course, and also the industrial zone. So electrical conductivity value were low, meaning that soil were not saline and are generally suitable for plant growth. So the importance of this is that soil properties are very significant along highway. Lead level currently within the safe limit for our project, and then we saw that organic matter control fertility and water retention, but still monitoring is still essential for that sustainable land use. And engineers bridged the research and real-world solution, which we checked that the reason that this project was in a good condition, it was because before the project being built, they go through EIA, or environmental impact assessment method. So they studied all the area, then they worked on this project. So engineering implication need for continuous roadside monitoring, soil testing support, sustainable agriculture, data helps in infrastructure planning, and engineers must integrate environmental assessment into highway project. The role of campus environmental protection, if we come back to our main topic, which is the campus or the classroom with this foundation, that we know the environmental awareness. I mean, the student can gain environmental awareness, policy support, and sustainable plan. So once we teach the theoretical, not only theoretical, even when they do the when students work practically, they gain how to collect sample, how to analyze them. For example, how to analyze the pH soil or the water, and also students when they work on this kind of project, they check the environmental impact assessment method. I mean, they follow this method or this approach. So student gains identify environmental risks, quantify contamination level, purpose mitigation strategies, and support decision makers with scientific events. Applying, so the advantage of this is that when we apply this kind of approach, you know how earlier to do the decision whether to go with this project or not, or to do any kind of assessment before. And evidence-based policymaking, you can also, there will be like sign of restriction or a sign of requirement, like a policy to apply it for this kind of project. And protection of agricultural land, protection of groundwater resources, and policy health risk, also sustainable land use planning. But without the scientific assessment, environmental management become like guesswork, and with the scientific assessment, it become strategic and preventive. So this all techniques, it helps the approach of sustainable goals that we all 15 goals that we have, but in this project especially support the goals of SDG 11, 15, and 12. So I think, yeah, that's my presentation. I hope it give any kind of feedback from our university. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Diman, for the interesting sharing and research findings. So I would like to thank all the guest speakers, the 3 speakers. So we have kind of rich topics for today, moving from education to incorporate of ESG in the business world to the technical aspects of the pollution and also the aspects, the reflection on the SDGs as well. So now I'm handing over the session to Ms. Michelle to moderate the Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam, and thank you again for these brilliant presentations. We're just ending on such a strong note with this series. So thank you so much, and many thanks to all of our guests today. I want to give a special shout out to our collective team, Atasha, Jane, and Isabella, who've been helping to promote as well as helping to curate the questions. And so thank you everyone there. Also, I want to share, we always have a global audience, and just to highlight a few of the locations of where people are joining us from today. We have Dallas, Texas, Switzerland, quite a few people from India, quite a few from Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Bucharest, Romania, several people from the UAE, Lusaka, Zambia. I think that might be a first, so welcome. Many people from Pakistan, Brazil, Colombia, St. Lucia, Canada, quite a few from Egypt, Philippines, Afghanistan, India again, Jordan, Kenya, Pretoria, South Africa. I think in that particular location, that might be a first. Karachi, Pakistan, and so many more. So thank you for sharing your location. Continue to do so if you haven't already. And we will get straight into the questions. We're a little bit out of order just because we had to start out of order. So I'm going to begin with Miss Miriam. And I know we have so many questions. Thank you to all of our attendees. And just, I want to just highlight like a very powerful quote in that she mentions that sustainability today sits in the boardroom, not in the PR department. And that's something that we really need to have as a takeaway for all of us in the sustainability movement in the business space. So as we head in, we have some questions. I'm going to start with a question from Strong Truth. Strong is from Morocco. And he asks, what mechanisms allow students to contribute to sustainability governance?
All right. So, sorry, can you repeat the question again? It's what mechanisms contribute or will contribute
allow students to contribute to sustainability governance.
Sustainability governance. All right. So, to be honest, there would be a couple of you. It wouldn't be just one mechanism. And it depends, let's say, from a country to another. And it depends on the way the country itself or the environment or the mindset would approach governance. So from us, first of all, you need to check with yourselves internally on the skills. So I believe that the strength lies within the skills of what we have. So first we need to check inside or like internally, what kind of skills do I have in order for me to assess the tools. So I see what do I lack, what do I not lack. But normally they're just easy. Like I said, with certain skills and certain skill notes, when I said like it would be better if you would go on a T-shaped mechanism. So instead of you actually talking about sustainability on a general, you educate yourself a bit about ESG, and then you check what do you feel as a person, something that you can actually get attached or something you by yourself do you feel, and then you see it, and then basically based upon that first initial self-assessment, then you can see what you can add, what you don't add. So let's say of a skill when it comes to that, let's say a compliance or auditing, or let's say it was a student, right? Just for me to understand the question properly. So is it from a student case?
I'm not exactly sure, but let's just say that it is. I would I would say would be good for the students to understand
Yeah.
that particular.
So again, when we're going to start first, again, it's sustainability is a life learning journey. You don't just go and say, okay, like I'm a sustainable, savvy, or it needs to be something that is embedded. We need to go out from the sustainability of perspective of like, no, I'm a sustainability expert, and move on to the fact of like, I'm a human being. In order for me to do good, I need to be sustainable myself. So I do believe that is one skill set that you need to have. It's the mindset. You start first with the first initial one, which is the mindset. Then you go do your self-assessment. Within that self-assessment, you can understand yourself better and what you can understand, what you can get. And this is when it comes to the second point where we said in my presentation, circular economy. So circular economy doesn't need to be applied just on economy. It's a principle that needs to apply. What can you add and what does it add to you? So I personally would feel that the first skill that you need to get is basically shape your knowledge and shape your way that you think about sustainability. So I believe mindset is the first skill.
Thank you so much. And I think it's perfect for what we're doing today and what we've been doing with this particular series and where we're heading, I will say, in the next fellowship program starting in 2 weeks. So thank you. Thank you for that, lead-in. That's great. I also, so we'll head over to Dr. Connie. And I really appreciate how Dr. Connie shared that sustainability education requires the living lab learning environments where students can really apply that interdisciplinary knowledge into real world environmental challenges and develop those problem skills. And that quote that you said, I know there's a comment out there, kind of disputing, like, how do we, when we look at the future of education.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for that one.
Good. It isn't just about preparing students for the world. It's about preparing students. It is about preparing students to save it. So thank you for that. And I'm not sure we put it in the questions, but we might have to go grab that and add it. I know I thought about that question too. So if you're online, you can look for the question and comment, or as more of a comment. But yes, we'll start with Indira, Dr. Indira Bunick. Since we started collaborating with Indira, she has since become a doctor. And so again, congratulations. And Indira is from Switzerland. And so Indira asks Dr. Connie, your research directly addresses fostering green skills across the curriculum at the Prince Sultan University. What does that look like in practice, not in theory? And which disciplines have been the hardest to convince that sustainability is their responsibility too? Great question.
It is a great question. I think, theory is there, but practice, it's never easy to get that practical application going, but you have to be steadfast. And it comes back to, like, we have, at PSU, we do, from our strategic plan, we have it embedded. It's a main theme. Testing my memory. I think it's responsible and sustainable campus environment. So it's one of our themes within the strategic plan for the next 5 years. So until 2030, I think 2025 to 2030, something along these lines. And then you have your objectives, and it gets rolled out across the campus. So this is one thing. The second thing is we have the support from the president, from all of the higher management team, how you embed it. So for me, I think in order for it to be successful and to roll it out across the curriculum and do all of these things, you have to have that strong infrastructure. You have to have the support in order to make it happen. I hope that makes sense, because if you don't have that, then it becomes more difficult, to get everyone to buy in and to actually apply it. So we have embedded it into our mission statements, not only at the institution, but the college, and then at the program level as well. Therefore, then it has been embedded into our learning outcomes. So by embedding it into the learning outcomes, it actually reinforces, because then this encourages the faculty and the students to actually be applying, because then we actually have to measure, did they achieve this learning outcome or not? So you're getting your data to see, are you achieving this? Are you putting your money where your mouth is, basically, as far as achieving sustainable matters. So I think this is extremely important. It's one of the ways you can go about doing it. And of course, assessment, your assignments that you have inside your courses, you redesign them, you rethink them, and so that they have sustainable themes. If you're teaching writing, I mean, my background is linguistics and English education. So if I'm teaching writing, I can have them do an essay about the sustainable practices in their current at home or in the current city they're residing in, whatever the case may be. So there are many, I mean, I could keep going. Faculty mini grants. We have offered grants, and the faculty who do research and publish about sustainability, they get recognized for that. So we have this embedded into our institution. So this is helping to rechange the way we think and how we behave, because you're learning as you're doing the research, as you're researching how to embed it into your curriculum. You're learning, you're changing your mindset, hopefully. That's the aim at the end of the day, is changing the mindset and changing your practices. Having recycling bins on campus, this is a great step, but it's more than just the recycling bins. It's making certain that you're conscious of this, and how does that impact everything that is going on. Did I answer all components of that question? I think I missed a part.
Yes, that is such brilliant insight. And I know that we have so many educators out there listening, and those also that might be students, that this is exactly where all universities need to be going. And I'll say in the business world, we are pushing to have that same pivot to where it's not just like, oh, here's this one area, here's your sustainability director. They'll manage everything. They'll just make sure that everything's working. As we always talk about how, like, many years ago, I remember having Costco come and give a presentation on their sustainability methods. And they said, we said, every single employee, and one of their biggest savings actually came from their janitor that was, and forklift driver that was helping to transition a packaging, like he saw a packaging idea, because he was told, like, hey, any ideas that you have, and that it started to be embedded so early on in their culture overall. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And I want to make note of the QR code that's up on the screen. For those that might be new, this is a QR code for you to receive a certificate of completion for today's program. So we hope that you can download that. And then it also offers an opportunity for you to recommend a potential speaker, or maybe you're a potential speaker that would be available for a future talk. So please utilize that QR code. And we will then go to Ms. Diman. And I love how Ms. Diman talked about how without scientific assessment, environmental management becomes guesswork. And we do talk about those metrics all the time, but there is a lot of guesswork happening out there. So with scientific assessment, it becomes strategic as well as it becomes preventative. So thank you so much for that. And I know we have a lot of questions here too. We will go into a question from, this is a short one, but Mohammed Akhtarzuman Hassan asks, did you consider ppm of the air pollution?
Sorry, did I consider what?
Consider ppm of the air pollution.
Not really for this project because we focus mainly on the soil. But previously we have worked on this for that air pollution. But for this project, with my colleagues and students, we all work together to collect the sample, analyze the what I have showed, the heavy metals, the pH, the EC, and organic matter. So for that, we know what is the condition, like our our area of that roadside. We had the agriculture area along the roadside, and we had also the industrial and residential. So we wanted to know that their environmental condition in that area. So how is their soil, and is it in the safe, or it's beyond the like it exceeds the let's say the standards. But overall, it was good because that project has been going through the EII, or Environmental Impact Assessment. So it kind of like worked very well for this project, as they know that what is the let's say what can we do before we work on before we build this wood, what environmental component we measure, and how to protect them, how to make them sustainable, how to build this route without damaging the environment. Like, we cannot say that we will not damage at all, but it will be damaged to some extent, but not to the high or significant.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Great feedback. So we will jump back up to Miss Miriam, and Dr. Indira Bunik asks, each of your works at the intersection of education, environmental, and enterprise. Oh, each of you works at the intersection. So where is the biggest gap between what we currently teach young people about sustainability and what they actually need to deliver, and what they need to deliver real impact, and what's your single most effective fix? So this might be for all of our speakers, now that I'm reading that again. But again, it says each of you work at the intersection of education, environmental, and enterprise. Where is your biggest gap between what we currently teach young people about sustainability and what they actually need to deliver real impact, and what's your single most effective fix? So we'll just go down the line, but we'll start with you, Ms. Miriam.
Right. Personally, I feel it would be execution, because what we teach students, there is a huge gap between what you're taught and between real life. So let's say what we're taught about ESG is mostly frameworks, how to do a sustainability report. And there are certain, let's say, sustainability standard or measures that we have to learn, whether I'll give you the example of GRI, SASB, FRS, S1, or S2. These are certain frameworks or terms that we use. The problem is that when we come to real life, we end up realizing that every one of them has a gap. Every one of them fills or gives a certain requirement. So how do we actually project that? And then what I've learned is, like, there shouldn't be a single standard. At the end of the day, what we want of a sustainability report, or what we want to learn about sustainability, is how can we take that outcome, that input, and make it to a better output. So I do believe that as a student myself, an MBA graduate, and somebody that genuinely loves sustainability, I believe that you being taught about sustainability is very different than you executing it. And I feel that if we would bridge the gap between learning and executing and real ground, like my prestigious colleagues, both of them, Miss Iman and Mrs. Coney, basically, I believe that if we bridge that gap and if we show students, okay, this is what you learned, but this is what you need to apply in real life, whether it's through experiments or whether it's, through like real live labs, basically, that's what I believe, that we need to turn whatever we've learned into an actually live example. You don't just learn alphabets from A to Z, but you properly fulfill what you have learned. So I believe that is basically the gap. It's the execution.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And just very quickly, because I know we have a lot of questions, but I really like this question because it does provide this big picture between the different speakers today. So Dr. Connie?
If I can tag on. I agree with you, Miriam. And further to that, I mean, a way of making certain that that actually happens inside the classroom is project-based learning, experiential learning. I mean, these are different pedagogical practices. They're strategies that you can use, approaches you can use. Of course, making the campus a living lab, I'm all for this. I think it's extremely important that, okay, I'm not going to just explain to them about the soil content if this was my background. It's not my specific area, but I would actually have them going out and testing the soil on campus to see what is it, what does it constitute, how does it impact, so that they can learn from that and then actually be able to apply it once they graduate. That's the key. It's not about just teaching students theory, it's about teaching them how to apply. How is it relatable to their own lives as well as the community at large? This is the extremely important point.
Thank you so much. Yeah, really, really important. And Ms. Dimon?
Yeah, I agree with them, but I would go for based on my experience with my students, I would go with awareness. Because when the student they come to university, like we try to give all kind of material, the method like lab, and they do practice. We teach them how to be skilled within this field. But I believe that this kind of project, it's not only like any kind of any other field. Like they teach, they learn, that they apply. It's not only that. It should be on their mind. I mean, it should be on their inside them. Like they should change their mindset about the environment. So I think that the awareness that they should, this kind of teaching should be teaching in the school, in the very beginning, when the students students go to the school. So yeah, I think the awareness.
Thank you. Yeah, and we don't always get to the group questions, so that was fun to hear all of the various answers with a common thread, and then some new perspectives as well. And we'll jump back to you, Ms. Miriam. Strong Truth asks, what institutional strategies help create sustainable pathways from ESG classrooms to green economy careers?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? It was quite a long question.
Sorry.
Sorry, there's nothing to repeat.
Sorry. Sorry, I guess wants to jump in also.
I totally get it. What institutional strategies help create sustainable pathways from ESD, I don't know if they mean ESG classrooms, to green economy careers?
All right. I think this will also get back to what we said firstly. I believe we need to bridge the gap between institutions and real life work environments. I believe that only when we do that can we actually understand the elements, and we can basically like be able to fulfill like what we need to give and bridge the gaps. So I would go and delve deep, but again, like I said, midwise, like it depends to every institution and the way that they actually teach ESG, because I believe that every institution teaches sustainability. Sustainability isn't one just framework where I could go with one definition. So it's different. So every institution, I believe, would teach you different ways or different outreaches of how you would see environmental, social, and governance elements. And only through that, basically, can you see what do they exactly want to implement. But if we take a life examples of today and the way that we see that institutional or sustainability, let's say financial sustainability, we've never heard before about a subject called financial sustainability. That's what basically it was brought by green economy. So when the economy shifted and from a single outcome economy to a green economy, that's when the perspective shifted, because I believe that nations move wisely, like on the way that perspective shifts. I mean, it's quite of a technical way for me to put it, but the simplest way that I could put it is like when green economy erupted, we started seeing, subjects about economy. We started seeing sustainability merge more. Sustainability beginnings didn't even exist 5-10 years ago in classrooms. I think, to be fair, it was only maybe one subject or two. Okay, what is sustainability? Yeah, sustainability is like you recycling, you're using, the 3 R's, the simplest measures. While right now we do hear about, oh no, sustainability, green finance, green bonds, green loans. We hear about recycling. We hear about lawyers that are only like dedicated to ESG matters. So we hear about circular economy. We started hearing about carbon footprints, carbon calculations. Like we even have nations that would buy carbon credit. We started hearing about how so nations started implemented. So I do believe, again, like I said, we need to bridge that gap. So I don't know if that was able to quite answer, because it was quite of a broad question, but yeah.
I think that was perfect, because we've had lots of great discussions here in this program about sustainable, the green economy and where it's shifting and different concepts of that. And so I think that was just absolutely brilliant. So thank you for that insight. And we will go over to Dr. Connie. And we have a question from Ayushi Saharan, and they ask, how can we address the funding gap in climate research, given the level of primary ground-based research required, particularly from a global South perspective?
Okay, good question. I don't have much background about the global South perspective, but as far as the funding gap, it exists everywhere, to be honest. How can we? The first thing I would advise is regional research networks. This is the first place to start. Regional research networks, they a lot of times provide resources across different regions. So this is the first thing I would recommend. Public-private partnerships. Look for entities that would be interested in becoming a partner or a research partner, if you will, depending on what you're looking at, based on whatever initiative it is that you're particularly focusing on at the time. You could also consider maybe community data collection, if that's available in your specific area. International climate funds, you can look for that. Reach out to different entities like the Green Climate Fund. You can also look for open data collaboration with different governments, because a lot of governments do have available different data sets that can help with that. So it's just about becoming more aware of the different avenues in order to collect that kind of data or funding, if you will.
Yeah, just quick question. Can you give one example of a regional resource network?
Insights I can give you from Saudi Arabia, just because that's where I'm currently residing and working from. The government, the ministry has a research funding program, so you can develop the research, the application, and you can submit for funding. It's very beneficial. I know that several of our research labs received funding. And one or two of them were about sustainability. So it's about making certain that you are aware of those opportunities. So networking is a great way to find out about those different resources or funding opportunities that do already exist.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know this is a very common question, just because we always feel, there's lots of resources out there, but I feel like there are so many resources, particularly dedicated to the Global South in general. But especially I think just from my perspective of what, who we've talked to, it's harder for it to fit some of the smaller organizations or initiatives to get that type of funding and to even know where to find it. So I love the fact that you brought up the regional resource networks as well. So thank you. And I know we just probably have one more question here. I'm going to ask the question for Ms. Dimon. And this question is from Victor Elderton. And Victor asks, after assessment, how do students change their lives? Do they present this as part of the assessment?
Thank you very much for the question. So for that courses that I teach, for example, EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, I give students the practical, not only theoretical, but practical method or skills. So my students, they get to learn how to work on any kind of project within their real life, within their real, either this field or any other fields. So it's more like when they understood how to work on real world problems, then they also know how to solve any other problems they have in their real world. So students that they get to know to solve the problems based on what they've been teaching, or they've been taken from the lessons. I'm not sure if I understand their question correctly. Like, he's asking if it's related to the real world, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I answer all of his question?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, a university or any kind of institution is not only for theoretical. It's when they understand the teaching, it's also reflect their real world or any other field they have in their life.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your well.
And I know that we have, there's quite a few other questions that we haven't been able to get to, but I see here one from Professor Farak and others that have dropped in questions. So just so we're all aware, you're welcome to continue to add questions, but then also look for answers. I know that in the thread from the video that will be going after this goes live, you're welcome to, our speakers will be answering some of those questions that we didn't get to today. So, so feel free to keep a lookout for those if they're able to answer those questions. And I want to just thank our audience. I'm looking at right now, we have 112 comments within this series, which I'm always just blown away by how much interaction is taking place. And it goes back to us collectively being a global sustainability family. And I don't know of any other program that's out there where you have so many people being represented from so many different countries. This is sort of the UN of sustainability education because we're coming together and providing such unique insights and comments. I know we didn't get to that comment/question for you, Dr. Connie, but I know maybe you'll have some feedback for that. And others that are out there, it's just, there's so much learning to do and so much for us to be learning from each other. because we live in these silos. Here in the United States, we definitely are in this unique silo where if we're only learning from each other, we're never going to make it on the sustainability path. So thank you for all coming in today and being part of this just really important program. And to our speakers, oh my goodness, and what a great way again to end this particular series. And we hope that others will join us for the fellowship, the professional fellowship that will start in 2 weeks. And so thank you. And I will pass it back to Dr. Wissam, who has brought us all here today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle and the team, for moderating the session. And again, a lot of we are very grateful for the guest speakers for their sharings today, for the discussion. And I think this is an interesting webinar to end this series, which is the last in this series and also the last in Ramadan as well. So in 2 weeks' time, we'll start our professional fellowship program. It will be very interesting. It is a very credible program reviewed by more than 50 reviewers from 38 countries. So we would like to welcome you all to join the program in 2 weeks' time. So thank you so much for the speakers, for the audience. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Have a great time, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you all.